I had this 45 single.
Okay. I love that. And I still have all of the Culture Club albums. I have them all.
Do you really?
I do. Yeah.
And do you listen to them?
Not I mean, I can't even tell you the last time. I do have a record player, but I still have the vinyls, the original vinyls of those.
Do you know the B-side? It was probably on that album. It's
I'm sure
Mystery Boy, which no one would know unless you
no
had
one would know unless but I will
B-side.
tell you that the albums are really good. They're really good. The first two are like so good. So good. It's funny that we're talking about good morning, everyone, by the way.
Good morning,
Um,
everyone.
so here's a funny story. So Christmas, I got for 1 year, I got Color by Numbers, the second album by Culture Club. And my mom had hidden our gifts like a parent would do, right? Somewhere in the house. And my sister decided we were both home, and I don't know where my mom was. My dad was working. And my sister decided to tear up the house to find our Christmas presents. And I was like, no, don't do that. That's not right. And so my sister made her way to the attic and found them. And she was screaming from the attic, get up here, get up here. And I'm like, I don't wanna. But I walked to the attic, got up there, and I mean, if my mom, if you're watching this, you know this story. I'm sorry. It's painful every time. And I'm like, I had two albums in my stack, Culture Club, Color by Numbers, and Van Halen. I had, what the heck one that was it for
Was
Van
that
Halen? 1984 I had in, right? And 3 plaid shirts from Jefferson Ward. And I remember 3 plaid button-up shirts. And I remember being in the attic, like, not excited about the albums, although I was devastated by these plaid shirts. And I was in the attic going, this is why I'm not popular. I can't wear these shirts. My sister's like, those shirts are ugly. They're ugly shirts. I'm like, I know.
You ruined my life.
It was the worst Christmas, though, because opening gifts that morning, it was like, oh, this is great.
And you realize that is no fun.
It really is zero fun if you know all the gifts you're getting. Really, it's awful.
Yeah.
I don't recommend. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Happy Tuesday. Who you drinking? Oh, Job.
I have my Job Sync mug this morning because I also feel like the J is just, probably more for me than yeah. Like it's brand, not really their brand. I've had the J and John longer. They've had the J and Job Sync, I would think.
I think you're right. I think you're actually right. I want to tell you,
yes,
this week.
I want to comment on something for you. Yeah.
What?
Well, I don't think people realize how much of a beast you are. Do people really realize that? I mean, you're training for a half marathon. I'm not sure that everyone is really, really understanding what that means.
I'm like, I am training for a half marathon in San Diego. We were just looking at this Airbnb. So I'm doing it with Kieran Snyder, who was our CEO, right? And Kieran was like, oh, what's your budget? I was like, oh, I haven't really thought of one. And it was like this Airbnb, because there's this Airbnb that like private pool on the beach. I was like, yeah.
I mean, is it a work expense?
No.
Could it be?
No, it's not a work expense. But I'm really excited about
Talk to my accountant.
Yeah, I think I should. Maybe I should. So I've been running every day and doing this training. My long runs are on Sundays. Sundays are like 9 miles this year.
I thought it was 9
this week. Is 10 miles.
Now, I want to make sure people know, are you running the whole 9 or 10, or are you walking still some of that?
I'm walking some of it, but not very much. So I would
Okay.
still, I mean, it probably looks like I'm walking, but I'm really
No.
running. You know what
I
I
just
mean?
think it's
Like,
important for people to know that because sometimes people are like, "Oh, I like if I can't do the whole 10 miles without sort of walking at some bits, then I'm just not, it's not working. It's not
well,
good."
this is
No.
what people need to know. Like, your body totally says, I like that. I'm
Yeah,
going to
good
use it
Lord.
as a, that's a great
HSA
one.
for the Airbnb.
I
Get
think that
lost
makes
in
sense. It's
all of
for
the
recovery.
letters.
I'm
Yes.
using it for
Yes.
recovery from ailment.
Yes.
Um,
I feel some sort of way about HSA, but I'll go ahead, finish your story, and then I'm
no,
going to say
so
this.
I don't even remember now. Look, now I'm all completely thrown
No,
off of
you
your
were going to
feelings.
get an Airbnb, or did you get one, or did you not?
No, we got one. We're getting one, and we're gonna be like have tacos. I can't wait. It's gonna be really fun. But running or walking. So I started walking some of it, and some of it I'm pretty sure I looked like I was walking in place. Like I must have looked like I wasn't moving. But
I just
this is what I found out. Your body will tell you to stop running the whole time. Like as soon as you start running,
the entire time.
the entire
The
time from when you
entire
start,
time.
it's
Yep.
like nah.
Yeah.
And
I run 2 5Ks a week, and that's enough running for me. I ran track in high school. Like I loathe running, but here I
mhm.
am still doing it. But you are like the second I start running, my brain is telling me, here's the 15 reasons you should stop running.
That's literally, and it will do it every step.
And I will tell myself, like I'm having a conversation in my head going, you've done
Like
300 of
mine, I'm
these
like Jackie.
5Ks. What am I?
You're literally still in front of your house,
It's
and I'll
like,
be like, no.
I mean, I'll be a mile in and my body is like, my brain is like, oh, you're not even warmed
And then
up.
I get home, I'm like,
Something's
my
wrong.
legs don't
You
hurt
should
or
stop.
anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're like, and when I was talking with my girlfriends, they were like, oh, it's so much or whatever, and they were like, no, anybody can do that. The difference is how fast you get there and how soon you recover, but
Yes.
it's all mental.
And you're not doing this, neither am I, for some sort of like land speed record. If I
No,
can get to
no,
the end, praise the Lord. I mean, honestly,
right.
like I'm not doing this to be in the
No,
top
I
10
think
or
I'll
something,
probably average like so it's 13.1 miles, and I
which is
think by the
just
end of it, it's gonna be like a 20-minute mile. It'll end
fine.
up being a 20-minute mile if I'm
Great.
lucky.
Yeah.
But I
Well,
mean,
it
like,
could be a 10-minute mile if you hold on to the bumper of a car or something. Like, can't you do it that
girl,
way?
let me just tell you because some of y'all don't know about Waco. Like, it's really small, and I mean, it's just so I'm running, and the only thing I have for protection is my cell phone. And I refuse last year. So I have an iPhone and I just refuse to upgrade my iPhone. Y'all know it's like you download the update and all the update is to tell you that you're a loser and that you need a new phone. And it just makes it so it turns off like in 4
Well,
hours.
you remember the days of like every 2 years you would trade in your phone to get
Yes.
the new one. Now that's all gone, right? It's been gone for a while. And it's like, oh, you want the new phone? Absolutely. We can break this down into, 24 payments of this, and you're
24
paying.
payments of $2,500 each.
It's like I'm paying over $1,000 for a new phone. What am I doing?
And it
Why
doesn't
am
even last a freaking year. And so
Yeah,
I get down to 10%. And I called Todd and I was like, I had a mile left. I was like, "Can you pick me up seriously? Because if I get like trafficked, I can't Kyle SOS." So I paused the workout. He
I
picks
mean,
me up. I mean, I'm literally like in the car. I was like 3 minutes away. And I'm like, okay. And he was like, are you going to get started? I was like, wait a minute. And then he's like following me in the bike. And I think people
he
thought it was
loves doing that.
abuse. I'm
He
pretty sure I
loves
was
doing that.
crying. I was
I'm
like,
sure you were. The fact that I'm sorry, and I don't want to make light of it, but the fact that you were calling him to say, if I get trafficked, I mean, that is not necessarily the first thing that would come to my mind. I get why it's the first thing that you're saying for a variety of reasons. I get why it's the first that you're
what if I
saying.
get trafficked?
I mean, if my executive producer called me and said, you got to come pick me up, I might get trafficked here, I'd be like, they'll have you for like 3 minutes and they'll be like, I got to drop you off. I'm sorry.
I
This
was,
was a mistake.
that is not true. You be nice. You
I
be
am.
nice.
My
But
exec. I might be saying that about you, not my executive producer,
listen,
because
I'm gonna and this so this
if
Sunday I'm just gonna
you're,
run in circles until 10 miles is over.
that's all. Well,
I'm just gonna run in
are you
circles.
expanding the like really like the road map? Or are you using an app that sort of tells you where to
Yes.
run for that
So I've
semi?
been using I use a million apps, but
Oh,
I've been using Map My Run, and then there's
oh
also
yeah,
one that's called literally I have a million. I use Strava too.
yeah. That's the one that I use.
Yeah. Oh, we're not even friends on Strava. That's rude.
I'm friends with no one on Strava
That's
because my profile says "mind your business." That's what mine says in Strava. Yeah, it's like, oh, no,
I use
don't.
Strava, and I use the Nike Running Club, which I really like.
Oh, that's so
Strava is a
bougie.
Textio client. Hey, Strava.
Woo! I didn't know that. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's
Well,
how I found out about
Strava,
them.
send us mugs, Strava.
Send us mugs,
And if
Strava.
I'm the only one
Listen.
who gets the mug, you will flip out,
Now,
flip out,
listen.
flip out.
So
100%
now
flip
that
out.
we're like 30 minutes in, should we talk about the
Oh wait,
topic?
let me tell you about this HSA real quick, because Dion, thank you so much for bringing it up. Why? Somebody tell me, why can't you use your HSA to purchase vitamins? Why? Why is that not? I can get Q-tips and rubbing alcohol, but I can't get my vitamins
No,
using my HSA?
no, because they're
I
not
don't
real.
understand that.
Vitamins are not real. They're just like aliens. They don't work.
They're just like aliens.
It's QAnon.
I
Don't.
mean, just that's my 2 cents. I don't understand that at all.
Thank you.
I can get contact lens solution, but I cannot get vitamin C. What?
You know what I don't get? How come when I get prescription glasses from like the place where I get my glasses, they're $100. You can get them for $5 at the Walgreens. Why?
You can use your HSA for your glasses, though. Are you
You
using that?
can you well, why do they have separate ones for dental?
It's all a scam. They're like, Kathy's like, they're going to audit you. I'm like, who's coming for me
They're gonna
for
come
the
and see that you
HSA?
got the freaking Ensure protein shakes, and then you are in big
That's
trouble.
another good one. Why
Yeah.
can't there are people that's especially when older folks, sometimes that's their meal, like that's what they're being given.
Older folks,
Here goes
literally, that's us
Here
in
comes
10
Jamie.
years.
Here comes Jamie. I should have teed up the question by saying, I know Jamie's going to respond to this, but
By the
what?
way, everybody give Jamie a hand. He's our real
Yeah,
producer.
yes, he is. Real,
But
real.
he's really slow, and I hope you're not paying him very much because,
Because he's terrible. And
not
he's sass talking me right here, right now about why vitamins can't be used. You're supposed to be on my side, Jamie. Don't post why I'm wrong.
Thank
This
you for
is
keeping
not
us
working
straight,
out.
Jamie. Listen, I love
Speaking of
our
employer
topic,
branding,
and we're getting back on point no
Jamie
matter what
works at
you say.
Humoriso, and here I am threatening and insulting him. This is how you build culture, everyone, and how you build an employer brand. You're welcome.
He has a full case. Jamie has a full case, and we're all witness to it. This is exactly what we are talking about today about the employer brand to candidate experience. And then we add what's the employee experience? That's a whole nother level.
A whole other level. Well, are
It's
you still
hard.
do companies now? Let's start ground zero
Yeah.
because you and I, we've been around for a minute. Some people that are here with us this morning, good morning, have been around a minute. Some have been around decades and decades and decades, and they look like they have been, Steve Brown. And so the idea of candidate experience has evolved. I'm wondering, are we on the downslope of candidate
We're on the
experience?
downslope of candidate
Because
experience.
do
You know
the
why?
companies care anymore?
No, because they stopped caring about people as people. You're like, all right, short show.
Okay. Thanks, everyone.
I don't think they do. I mean, if you're going to use an automated system to pick who you interview, do you care about people really?
Right.
Because they're that they because the those systems don't have discernment. You know, it's just a like keyword density product, or sometimes it under. Oh,
Here he is. Here he is. And
hi,
all
Greg.
is right. Hi, Greg. Good to see you, brother. Thank
So
you for being here
freaking
despite your sister.
stop. What?
I
I
will.
am. First
I
of
will.
all,
I
I
will.
am a
I will.
delight. I am a delight.
You just reminded me of that old. My kids always do that old vine of the lipstick in my Valentino purse. What?
John, did you have a Red Bull this morning? I swear you've had extra
I
coffee.
did not sleep though. Our air conditioner broke at 6 p.m. last night.
And you didn't go stay at the W?
No, why? Why didn't I say the W? Come on now. You know why? Why? Because I am El Cheapo. And so homie will say,
I know.
I mean,
I know.
I wouldn't be offended. Jackie knows. Y'all, listen, I am absolutely El Cheapo.
That's why he
We'll
gets
be at
so
the
mad.
lobby
Wait,
bar and I am Googling coupons for
they
this
don't
particular
know. What they
occasion.
don't
Yes,
know is that we always say, pay for it, John. And then we just walk away and he gets so mad.
pay for it, John. And here's John, honestly, like Marriott Hotel lobby. I'm Googling coupon code,
He's like,
Marriott Hotel lobby.
coupon. Can we go to dinner at 4? We literally are. We have turned into the early bird specials. He's looking for a coupon. And we're always like, John will pay for it. Go pay for it,
John
John.
will
And
pay
he's
for it.
always like,
John will pay
why
for
am
it.
I paying for it?
John has all the coupon codes and Katie's making sure that we get in the car on time. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
That's pay for it, John. Um,
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway,
but I feel like literally I don't think people care as much about the candidate experience.
I don't
I
think so.
also don't think that I don't think candidates care about the recruiter experience. It's turned into I mean, I have people there are new systems right now in place that I remember I mean we are of a certain age when we started getting
Yes.
Monster and Career Builder and then we
Oh,
started seeing it. It was the first time. I know this is going to sound absolutely out of the box to some people, but we used to with resumes
oh yeah.
have to go to the Kinkos. You got resume paper, and God forbid you print it on a dot matrix because it would look ugly. It was specialized paper, and you would mail it
Oh yeah.
in
Yeah.
an
Or drop
envelope,
it off
and
in person
that's why
if
you
it
had
was
maybe you
nearby.
put a little
Yep.
perfume on it, just a
It's
little.
funny when you watch Legally Blonde now. It's so funny you say that. And she has like they make a big deal about the color paper and what it's spelled like.
Yes,
None all
to
that's
go to law
lost
school.
now.
That's how we used to do. So when we started having Monster and Career Builder and applicant tracking systems,
They're one.
it was bizarre,
And now they're one company, which is also bizarre.
which
But
is
I mean, they hated each other.
now they're desperate hanging on to each other,
No,
desperately clinging. They're
desperately.
like freaking Titanic in that one piece of door. They are hanging on.
Listen, from a candidate experience standpoint, so this is yesterday. I have every once in a while in the county where I live, which is Indian River County in Florida. There is an amazing organization called United Against Poverty, and they
I'm
have
sorry. I'm sorry. It's not
why?
funny. It's not funny because because
What are you?
because you said united against poverty, and I am cackling. I don't know why that struck me as funny. It's not
Well,
funny.
they have. It's okay. You get the giggles out. I'm punchy because I didn't sleep because of being. It was 103 degrees in the house. But
El
the
Chico.
El Cheapo, they have some programs that they run right within the county, and one of them is they do these cohorts of those that are looking for work, and this work runs the gamut. Right, I'm talking about trade school related work or in the trades, I should say, or entry level type work. And so every so often they ask me to come in and do like an hour and a half on resumes and interviewing tips, like what they should be thoughtful of. But honestly, it's all supposed to be wrapped in encouragement. Like it's tough and they're just they feel very discouraged. Some of them are coming out of incarceration. Some have had to step away from the workforce for a while because they were caring for either children or parents and things like that. And they're having a tough time getting back in the workforce. Anyway, yesterday I had the opportunity to do this, and the work experience for them is the interview experience for them is super depressing. They're very discouraged. They're like, no one cares that we're talking to. they'll call us once in a while based upon a submission, right? An Indeed application, and they'll call, and the candidate is like, yes, right? Like, yes, hi, yeah, I'm here. Thank you so much for calling. And the person on the other end's like, here's my 3 questions. Do you have that, like completely disconnected, a recruiter slash screener, whatever the person is, who's just kind of pouring through, doesn't want to hear the stories, doesn't want to understand the person. It's just, tell me about these 3 things real quick. Can you do this? Do you know how to do this? How long did you do it? Great. Can you come in Tuesday for an interview? Thank you so much. Bye. Super cold.
Mm-mm.
And I don't think anybody cares anymore. I mean, it used to be candidate experience was such a big deal.
We used to rate the candidate
We
experience.
used to.
And like, I don't think we look at this as having a full experience going through and looking at it as a reflection of your company. But then there's some people that do the opposite. Looking at, it depends on where you are, what the size of your organization. Some people have full employee experience, candidate experience, like if they're focused on the employer brand and it's a separate piece, right? And you have this employer brand that is spot on, it's key. And then you realize, like, when you get in there, there's different things going on. So, like, when I first came to Textio, one of the things that I always thought was so cute is everybody loves Textio. Like, if you go on LinkedIn and you go and you look at
Absolutely.
it, I was like, everybody loves Textio. And I was like, oh, that could be my employer brand, right? Like, everybody loves Textio. Oh, flash forward, not everybody, not everybody. And
No.
so I was like, if it's one person who doesn't, fine. If it's two people, then we have to look at, okay, so what is the culture? And
Yeah.
now we know what's been going on within HR tech. And when I'm talking to people and it's like, hey, let's talk about what the company culture is. I want to get to David Noe. I can't for some
Hi,
reason put
David.
his comment up.
It
I don't
won't
know.
let you. Oh, am I the one who owns it today?
I
No,
think you
certainly
might.
not me. Nope, not me. No
Well,
one's in
if you
charge
look,
here.
David Noe, he said, what's your favorite personal story about company culture? How have you applied that to your current company culture? I will tell you, my favorite company culture, and this, I don't know how good this is. We were having a deep meeting. I was working at home. I lived in the house over there, and I literally like lit a cigarette and opened a beer at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And Jeremy goes, "Oh, look what y'all did to Jackie," and I like totally forgot that I was on camera because I'm that girl. And nobody said anything. No one questioned. Nobody said anything. But I
That's
did
called fear.
appreciate I
It
did
was like,
appreciate being able to be myself there, and it was like that where everybody had different things. It wasn't always smoking and having a beer, but it was a culture of being very very loose. I also remember having when I worked at Recruiting Daily, there was a company culture, a different company culture. Like, we were always felt like we were hunkered down and trying to get all these
mm,
stories together and writing and trying to build a brand even more. So that was a little bit different. But look at Stephen.
well,
He said tut tut to my cigarettes. And
yeah. I mean, but the reality is, honestly, for some people, they do need to know that that's what the culture's like. I'm still a big believer in self-selection.
yeah,
If I'm a candidate and I have insight into what the culture is like, what some of the unspokens are, and hopefully the interview process opens a door for that. I want a candidate to self-select out and say, I might love to do this work. I don't know that I might love doing this work in this environment. And I'm not
that's
saying
right.
your environment's toxic or a problem. It's
No,
just not my vibe. That's
right,
all. It's just not my vibe. That's okay. I think because of this sort of desperation that we've had the last couple of years around, we just need people. We've got, 8 point some million jobs available and only 6 point some million people on unemployment. We got to find every person we can, and they have to work. They have to work. They have to work. They have to work. It may not work because of your culture. That's okay.
right.
I
I
mean,
will
I
tell
don't.
you, I spend most of my time now. The first part is what I do is I try to convince people not to take this job. Like I just want people to know what's going on, and if they
The
are in their right.
anti-recruiter. Yes. Right.
Well,
Yeah. Yeah.
here's the
Yeah.
thing that
Yeah.
people say, like, we're a startup, we're a small company, we made cuts because we have a new product and we're trying to launch. And people will say, "Oh, well, I want stability." I can't give you stability in HR tech right now, my friend.
In any tech.
In any tech, and I can't give it to you in a startup like this. Like we're venture capital backed. Like I can't give you that. And I think people are being taught, thanks internet, like, oh, you should expect this and this, and it's just not true for every single environment. And so I always say that I have an affinity for HR tech startups. It's the kind of haunted house that I like, and
I
that's
like
how I
it too.
always
Yeah.
describe
Yeah.
it
Yeah. Yes.
because I
It's so
never
funny
know.
that you said this. Thanks, internet, because and I don't. This is related, right? Because the internet has been really interesting in terms of advice and direction that it's given. And this past week, we I don't know if you've been paying attention. There's an article or two that came out in particular publications regarding HR and HR tech that have caused some kerfuffle
No,
amongst.
what? Tell
Oh yeah,
us.
yeah, yeah. This idea of if you're not really a practitioner, stay in your lane. Nobody wants to hear from an analyst telling HR people how to
I
do
kind of said that this
recruiting.
past week. Actually, I said something like that this past week. I was like, listen to me.
Yeah.
And the reason
And
I
there's a
got,
difference between loving I want to make sure we say this. We love the analysts, but the pushback is you're an analyst. Stop telling practitioners how to do their job.
well, I do think that people should know what is going on.
Yeah.
What are we working on right now? And because one thing that I think analysts have a tendency to do is look for, which makes sense, is looking at the product for what it is, right? Oh, we're working on performance feedback
Yep.
without looking at the 360 view of an HR tack and the expectations of what's going on. And so there's different things that are necessary for a one person shop versus a three-person shop
Yes.
versus and how, what those things, what
Well,
you're able to do.
when you're espousing, my gosh, I didn't sleep. Look at these bags.
Look
Holy
at you. Oh my God.
bro.
You need some cold cream.
I need cold cream. I need a full peel. The part of the pushback is um, all you practitioners are making it difficult for. Now I'm being extreme, right? Some of the vibe is all you practitioners aren't making the workplace. You're not future minded in the way in which you're doing your workplace. And so what do we categorize as future minded? I'm going to tell you, and I don't care if you have issues with this, but the vast majority of what's out there on the internets are really people leaning into this flexible workplace still. Hybrid working from home, that's still the most, I'm not saying it's the only, it gets the most coverage, and it's the most often pointed to factor in saying that you have a company of relevance. I am so sick of that, not because I'm sick of it from a point of view. I'm sick of it because it isn't true for every organization. It's not. You cannot tell me my organization is irrelevant because I can't have 96% of my staff work from home. That doesn't make me an organization that's done something wrong. People feel some sort of way about pizza. They actually order it and like to eat it physically, not virtually, for real.
Right, right,
So if
right.
I say to people, yo, I want to make this a more modern workplace, cook that pizza at home, just show me on the Zoom camera. Doesn't it look good? This is what you paid for. You can't eat it because it's virtual, but pretend I'm going to hold it real close to the camera.
Nobody
There's the
does that.
slice. I mean, that sounds silly, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of where we've relegated. And now you have practitioners that are apologizing that they can't offer candidates jobs that are hybrid, if not fully remote. What?
I think they should. Because you know why? It's fully traumatic. I don't want to see none of y'all. None of y'all.
But you're in tech, and that is
Yeah.
different, right? From an
There are
industry
some
standpoint.
things that are different. And I think,
Yes.
but see, the whole thing is You have these people that signed up that are CEOs that have never had any clout at all whatsoever, and they don't have clout at home, and their kids don't listen to them, and their wife hates them, and they want to go to work and be bossy.
Yes.
That's all
Ooh,
it
look at you.
is.
That sounds very personal.
Oh,
The
because those are your people. Those are your
If
people.
your culture, and I'm going, this is where we are now. It's post pandemic. I understand COVID's still around, but it's post pandemic. We're at a place now where honestly, telling people they can work hybrid is as good as your ping pong table and Beermeister was.
Working hybrid is stupid. Like, listen, I cannot drag my ass. I was literally like, think about it. Like, if I had to go to work today, I'm a stank. I ran. I got a little late. My shower's gonna have to wait today. It would not be pretty. I would wear slides every day.
Gee, thanks, Greg.
I want to go back up to something that
You can't
Diana
share
put on
anybody's,
here.
or just was it just David's? Can you share anybody's?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
you
can
can.
now. I
Okay.
figured it out.
All right.
Diana, it was operator error. Um, it says, I've been really frustrated with this as a hiring manager coming from the old days of recruiting and the focus on the candidate experience. It has been difficult. Like we're about to, I can't tell you, we're about to launch a campaign next week that really kind of talks about what kind of things people are going through right now as at work. I also think I'm just sick of people stacking it up to HR.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting stacked and stacked and stacked, right?
Listen, HR can do a great job of painting a good picture of what it means to be a part of the organization. And then they go into a department where there's a terrible manager. That affects their day to day. Of course, it's going to affect how they see the organization. And
And, and yeah,
HR is not off the hook. I appreciate, and I'm
no.
not saying that. But I think if you talk about an employer brand, it doesn't fall on the shoulders of one person or
Well, they
one
don't work for the
department.
recruiter, right? At that
Right.
point, they're going to have to work with you, hiring manager. And so it's up to you in order to do that. And the problem is, I mean, there's various situations. We don't teach people how to interview. And because it's those same people that want to drag your ass to work that are the same people that are be like, I don't, oh, they have a 2.7. I would rather have a 3.5 and not hire people. Like they don't
Yes.
care about the experience. It's the same
Yeah.
people.
Well, and it's also the Jimmy requested 8 hours for PTO, and Jimmy only has 7.4 hours available. So we'll pay the 7.4, but he will have 0.6 of, and I'm like, Jimmy's going to accrue more than the 0.6, this Friday with this Friday's paycheck. We're really going to be that narrow of a view. You will, if you are that transactional, then don't be surprised that your employees treat you transactionally, treat the company transactionally. Why shouldn't they?
But I think like some people have to adjust. Like I want to talk about what Mr. Noe is saying. Like he says, how can you best express company culture when the company is fully remote? We're about to like it's one of those
Full
things like
body cameras, full body cameras. That's helpful.
could you imagine?
I'm telling you, I meet people and I'm like, my gosh, you're short, or my gosh, you're tall.
Don't do that.
I do.
Don't.
And
I do think, wow. Like I mean, you
yeah,
remember. So like when I was on my weight loss journey, like my face was really like the last thing to go. So like I would like show up and it's like
well, you still
I don't
have a face. Let's make sure people recognize that. You do still have a face. You
I
said it
do
was the
have
last
I
thing to go.
can't wait. I don't know what people are going to do with HR tech. They're going to be totally terrified when they see me. I don't think people are going to recognize
I
they'll
mean,
recognize the voice.
I actually agree with that. I think people are going to be like, who is this petite flower? Holy cow. Listen, y'all don't know. Jackie is like petite, petite, petite.
Nobody's calling me flower.
I
Um
mean,
but
well,
I do think
cacti have flowers, right? Isn't that right?
yeah, do we need to do a GoFundMe for you for your air conditioning?
David, let me tell you. Actually, I'm going to tell you right now. The air conditioner repair guy is calling while I'm doing this, and I said I will be on But First Coffee, and this man's going to call me incessantly while I'm doing it. He had all morning before this. Oh well, he'll wait. I can't help it. I
Look
I
at
said,
Dion.
right, Dion, isn't that funny? You're a lot shorter in person than I thought. You have tall girl energy. I I mean, I know that we can get into all kinds of HR problems with that, but I do love it for this in the sense of think about the bias that would have set in on Dion if someone saw her initially and said, "Oh, she's short, and therefore this must be, even if it's unspoken, must be the kind of person that she is." But that was removed, and Dion got to exhibit tall girl energy, whatever all that means, and the person never thought twice about it. There have been people, not just height wise, just even in terms of um, their mannerisms. There is something different sometimes about seeing someone on video and then seeing them in person. There's just that fullness, right? I'm
Right.
not saying that that means you can't build a culture with remote employees. What I think it requires for remote employees is a lot more intentionality.
That's right. And you
A
have to
lot.
think about that. I am I've been at home working at for over 15 years now. Like to me, like it's so rude to ask me to come. Like I don't even
So
know what
rude.
corporate.
It's
I don't
so
even
rude.
know. I don't know how to do it. Please don't. Like I don't think I'm like the worst example. You know, I like have like fully ADHD. I just there's just certain things I don't know what people could expect. It would be really, really
But
hard.
your job, again, can lend itself to being done remotely. I'm not saying it
Mine
doesn't mean
can.
right. Yeah, but
Mine
not
can.
everybody's can. And
Do you
by the
see
way,
what my brother
I
said, by the
love
way?
that Greg is here. I love when your brother is here because
Oh my God.
he is my advocate and ally, and I feel that because I am usually the one on the ropes. So I appreciate it very much.
I will
I'm treated so poorly here.
you are whatever. You get all the mugs. Everybody loves John. Maybe that's why. They're like, "Oh, poor John, give him a mug."
I know because Jackie is mean. The thing is,
I am not
I am not.
mean.
You take that back, or I'll punch you in the face. Yeah, that's not no mean. She's not mean at all.
I mean, it's a euphemism
It's
for a
it's
kiss.
it's colloquial. Okay.
I will stab you in your throat.
Oh my
It's a
gosh, that's me.
euphemism
That's me.
for
Welcome to Philly.
now, John.
Welcome to Philly. Um, but I will say, if your brand can't figure out how to build culture, again, coming back to the question that you were highlighting from David, if your company can't figure out how to build a brand around remote employees, right? If that is what your organization is mostly about, then even that'll be just transactional. And that's why you're seeing remote employees just turn over in jobs just as much, if not a little bit more, than those that are on site because it's like I'm disconnected. I just wait for the next best thing to come along or something else that seems to be better. And bye, bye, bye. I'll mail you the computer, whatever, or take it out of my last paycheck, or you're not allowed to do that in the state where I live. And so therefore sue me for the laptop, and this causes stress and strain for people, especially in HR, and
The
HR
sue me for the
feels
laptop. What are you going to
some
do with the laptop?
sort of way.
What are you going to do? You're giving people freaking used
I
MacBooks in
mean,
the
don't
first
say
place.
this with Jamie now because he'd be like, we're going to wipe it, repurpose it, and give it to the next employee that we have to hire to replace the person who was only here 7 months, who worked from home, never was intentionally connecting to anybody else because we didn't foster that from happening. They didn't feel like they were a part of a team. And so they were like, oh, another offer. I just got a call from a recruiter, a good recruiter who knows that 60+% of roles are being filled passively, not actively. And so they're back to headhunting. That's what's going to
That
happen.
sounds very personal, John.
Oh, it's hi, welcome to Mauricio. We're taking your people like this. That we're going after people that I'm telling you,
I
60.
think
It's like
people like this is
60%.
difficult because it's a clear line, and I think it's fine to be
Yes.
like, we're just not going back. And I what I think what is important to acknowledge is do you I mean we don't want a ping pong table, but do you have things in place that can
Yeah.
take some of the burden off that happens at home? I mean, I really do. I don't know how you can do all of the stuff that you have to do and have small children. I can barely take care of myself, let alone I mean, and I
You
am
have a small child. You
very
actually have 3 small children,
are you talking about my puppies?
puppies, and
My
you also have
puppies.
an executive producer that at moments.
And my executive producer, he went back to school this week. He teaches at the WISD. He was
What's he teaching?
well, no, he's an assistant. He's
That's it.
helping doing the assistant stuff. And
Oh, awesome. No, no bueno.
oh no, man. Listen, some people, children. Speaking of
Todd's eating their
transactions,
goldfish. Is that what's happening? He's helping himself to all the goldfish, and they're like, we have no
and the
snack.
and the high C.
The high C.
Does anybody have small children? Do they still give snacks in kindergarten? We used to get milk and crackers.
I mean, it's been a while. I mean, they did when my kids
And
were in
it's a
kindergarten.
whole scam. It was Zesta crackers. Do you know how many years I bought Zesta crackers? Like I could not do it like any of the other ones because those are the ones that we got in school.
I mean, and the issue now is the district can't pay for the snack. So some of it is you're supplying snack for the week as the parent. Like, hey, can you send in remember those hugs, those plastic sugar juice
Yeah,
bottles?
can't do that. When we went to school, our parents gave us 50 cents so you could get a Coke.
15
Oh
cents.
my God.
Milk was 15 cents. Milk was 15 cents.
You could, now I'm getting depressed. I'm like, oh my God.
I mean, really. But now again, at the workplace, some of this stuff was easier to do. And I know that food is a love language for a lot of people. I know. And so when you work remotely, that's a piece of sort of the easy culture that we got really used to. And I'm not saying it was bad. I like food quite a bit. So, but it's not as easy to do.
Let me tell
It
you,
was
my
a
neurosis,
special thing to do it.
I have not stopped my grind culture since I've been at home. I still rarely take lunch. My friends are like, you work at home. I don't go to lunch very often. I
Right.
might eat in like 20 minutes. I'm trying to cram all the meetings in. I try to get to my desk right at 8 o'clock. I don't talk with other people. I schedule meetings. I give myself a couple of hours to read my email, check in, plan for the day. But I'm at my desk at 8 o'clock. I am never gone from my desk before like 5:15, and nobody's here and nobody cares. But we have a
Yeah.
very open culture of do the work that you're supposed to do. And the thing that's funny is with my coworkers, I have a deal. I'm like, listen, if it's not work related and it's fun, can you just send me a text message? Because I have freaking trauma from that Slack meeting. Like, I don't, please,
I mean,
because I still want to talk to you, but I don't want to hear and so there are some
that,
people that I crack up. I'll be off having cocktails or whatever, texting back and forth, but I don't want to be on Slack and I don't want to be in my office.
yeah. I
Wait,
mean,
we are
Slack.
totally off the rails.
No. Slack is a big part of this, right? Because I think Slack or Teams or whatever your internal comms channels are, that's become like a breeding ground of the heaviest cultural considerations.
Of toxicity in your
Yes.
city.
Yeah.
It's the worst.
Yeah.
We're
It,
working on it, by the way. We're working on something Textio like for Slack. Because let me tell you, if I get fired, it's going to be because I sent something over Slack that said,
yes.
can you just wait till later?
Yes. Yes.
Right?
It
Like,
is a serious thing. I mean, how many side Slack channel conversations are having where you're talking about somebody else, right? You've got three people of similar mind who are against one person. I mean, it's like the Real Housewives of Pick the City. That's what's happening, and there's just all of this chatter happening against people. That is absolutely culture laden. It's not good culture, but it's culture laden for sure. And so if
right.
people don't feel safe, and if there isn't transparency in some of that stuff, that's why you'll have people who will say things like, "Hey, I'm the only person of color on this very small team. I don't hear very much from people on the Slack channel, which is the primary form of communication, but I'm noticing that the other three people I work with seem to know things that I don't. Is there a side channel going on where they're discussing these things and I'm not a part of? Because I can't help but feel like that's happening since I'm so out of the know. Now you're asking there to be, now we start looking into these things and HR becomes the bad guy. And we
But
look into this
feelings
stuff and
are
we're like,
fake.
crap.
We can't start
Yeah.
looking at feelings because that doesn't even make any sense.
We always look at feelings. Welcome.
I remember one time and it's only happened once, but I'm sure people have thought it before. I don't feel like he's doing work. I don't feel like they are engaged.
Their button is, and Jamie just brought this up too, their button's on red a lot during the day. I know they're not that busy. Oh gosh. How do you
But
know? Like, this
you
is what HR does. I'm telling you, for some companies, that's where the culture is. And so HR people are leaving our discipline, leaving our discipline because no one wants to be an adult lunchroom monitor. That's not what people desire to be. I can't spend my day investigating the sense that you think you have about something. But that's what we wind up doing in companies. It's
We're going
off.
to
It's a
try
terrible thing.
something new just so everybody has that. Me and John have some things we want you to register for. I just want to make sure that people
Oh
see it
gosh, I
before we
was like,
forget.
what am I wearing? What am I doing?
John has a webinar going on
Oh,
today.
today, 1 p.m. Eastern. If you are interested in hearing some things about the overtime changes, things that some of you have already are aware of, but we're also talking about forecasting. How are we planning for the new year?
Real sexy stuff.
Listen, y'all, don't think that the election may necessarily change what the new salary basis is going to be,
Absolutely
thresholds are
not.
going to
You
be.
listen to me. Y'all, listen.
Everybody's waiting. Just, I don't know that that's,
No, you're not going to have to wait on that. Listen to me.
I'm
Not
just saying.
everybody is so different than what you think.
I mean,
I'm
just
just letting you
saying.
know.
Just saying. So anyway, I'll be very practical about a lot of stuff today if you're around.
I have another
You
one
have,
we want to talk
right?
about. We have a webinar that's coming up that is going to be high performers. We're going over our data report that we wrote. And listen, and this is kind of what you were talking about. High performers getting low quality feedback are leaving. There's a 65% chance that they'll leave within the first year if they don't get
Yep.
feedback.
Because
And
it's totally transactional.
these are top performers. Like,
Yeah.
and those are because usually their feedback that they're getting is stay cool, have a nice summer, keep doing what you're doing. And then
KIT. KIT.
lastly, we are having a party at HR Tech at
Oh,
Hazel
I should have given
Coffee.
you mine. When is
Cocktails and
yours?
things.
When is this one?
I don't what is it? Now, scan the QR code, John Baldino.
Why are you like this? I can't ask you questions. What is
Listen,
happening here?
listen to me.
Now I have to scan the QR code like a okay, let's see. Did this
Did it
work?
work? I want to scan it. I just want to see did it work?
Yes.
Because
Oh, good. Yes, yes, yes. So because Humoriso is also doing one. So you'll start at Textio. Please register for this. You'll start at Textio and then you'll make your way over to Humoriso's happy hour. So
we're
we are
having
back
a
to back.
fixer mixer. Yes. Start with
What does
me and
that
then you'll
mean?
go on with
Is this like have your pet spayed and neutered, fixer mixer? What
very
is
close. It is so very close to that.
I
It
love a
is,
good bris.
we want to fix bad feedback. We're
Oh,
fixing
never
bad
mind.
feedback.
Wrong fixing. That would be something though. What if we did an actual like
That would
vasectomy
really be
live?
something.
Let's do a vasectomy live, fix
Shut
and
your
fix.
pie hole. Just shut it. Just no.
Tell me that wouldn't be the event to end all events.
It would end all the events. Ooh, this is what we love. This is what we love to see.
Jamie,
We are, look at Jamie.
I know.
Ah!
Because we have to have a legal
Thank you
disclaimer.
for letting us keep our jobs.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Dion, thank you for putting that up there. I'm actually interested because I think a couple of people that I know of who are on here, but I'm sure there are more. If you are looking for a job currently, what has it been like for you as far as the candidate experience? Like if you're looking for a job right now and the last time you looked for a job was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, are you seeing any difference in the experience? Is it, in what ways is it good? In what ways has it not been great? If you are listening right now, please throw those things in the chat, because one of the things that I thought about too, and again, this came up yesterday, some of the folks that I got to chat with have a deep experience background, right? So they've been doing a particular skill set in practice at work for, let's say, 10 years, and they're getting called by a recruiter who is, and I don't mean this disparagingly, who is, so let's say 23, 24 years old, first job, let's say post college. They're early in their work experience, and here they are trying to talk to someone, recruit for someone for a role at a senior level, and they're talking to this person with 10 years of experience, and you can tell that they haven't had a great relationship with the hiring manager, because they don't really know how to screen for someone with that level of experience, because they don't have their own frame of reference to work from. So they needed to be invested in order to be able to have the screening work as effectively as it should. And that came up a few times yesterday. I wonder if that's what other people are noticing as well. I'm not slighting the 23-year-olds. I'm just talking about the context of level of experience, right? We can't fake that.
Well, listen, I feel like there's some things that you can do to make this process a little bit easier for people. I don't know if everything's perfect. I just give suggestions that have worked for me, buffet everything I say. But one of the things is that I write the questions with the hiring manager based on the job description. These are the questions that I'm screening for at my desk, at a recruiter desk, before I will, and I go over what the expected be and red flags of the answer
Yes.
for me and for them, so that we give them the same
Yes.
experience. And I have headings for all of the
So
questions.
good.
I send those headings to the candidate. These are the areas that we're going to talk about. These are some of the things I want to hear about. And I make a version of it. It's not the question, but I want you to be able to talk about your experience where this has been implemented. I let them know what the interview process is. I give them alternative people that I CC in case, they're like, who's Josh? Oh, in case I don't show up or something happens, you have somebody that besides me to reach out to if anything happens
Yeah.
within the organization. And then we survey our candidates to see if we can get better. We
Woo.
survey. And, we survey everybody after the first phone screen. Only 18% respond to the survey.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Actually,
But
that's a pretty decent number, to be honest with
it
you.
is a pretty decent, but the problem
That's
right
more
now
than
is
all.
within our people who our audience attracts. They have the challenge. We had a big run on recruiters and talent acquisition and HR BPs. We had a big run, a big push, paid everybody a little bit higher. Then we
Yes,
got those people, we fired them. Then we have junior recruiters, and we have so many different resumes. It is so hard right now.
it
I
is
was like,
so hard.
I really think that we had our executive team meeting, and I think they all were like, "What are you talking about?" Looking at me like, are
Yeah,
you whining and crying? I was like, these resumes, they look like qualified resumes, and you have to dig in and be like, and then you want to make sure it's not biased. Like, here's an example. I'm hiring a software developer. I'm looking for someone who's done AI. Like, their title might say researcher.
yeah,
And I have to go and I read it, or it says software developer. And then you're like, they'll say machine learning software developer. And then I'm going and they're doing web interface. And so they're not doing the back end. So you have to know so much, or they're getting AI to write the resume based on the job description. And then you go on to LinkedIn and it'll say that they work at Ross.
yeah,
Like,
yes.
and it takes so much time to do that. And I subscribe to every candidate deserves an email. I don't care how long it's going to take me.
Well,
And
that look at Mandy. What Mandy wrote, which was when I said, "What are you experiencing?" I know there's other responses. Mandy wrote crickets. Seriously, we still have, for all the money that's been spent on HR tech, on applicant tracking systems, we still have candidates experiencing zero response. I
it is
mean, like,
horrible.
it's awful. Even if you just tell, and Mandy, I don't mean this personally to you. Like, if Mandy's not a fit or whatever that means for the role that's been applied, just send an email saying, thanks so much for applying. We're moving forward with other candidates.
So here's
Something.
the thing that happened. Love this. So when we were looking for a VP of HR, I was very particular because these are my people, right? These are
Right.
potential clients. So wrote such great feedback, long, and I
Oh,
sent
yeah.
it, and somebody
Yeah.
said, "I don't believe that you really wrote this." And I think this is AI, and I'm gonna sue because you're so. And I literally took so much time writing those, and it was during like meticulously writing responses. And it happened to me 3 times where they said, "I don't think you wrote this. I think this is AI."
I don't even, I mean, first of all, part of me wants to say, what do they care? So what if it was AI? At least you're getting a response.
I didn't get you. Thanks. We're not going to give you a response because we have so many candidates in the hopper, but not this time, and we'll see you later.
Right. Right.
Because that's what I get so mad, like at TikTok when they're like, "Oh, you're gonna keep my resume in case." Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
really, really am.
I
I
really,
really,
really am.
really am.
I really am.
We really
And
want to
some of
have
you,
candidates in our database. We want to
yes.
be able to look and do that because that's like a third of the job, a third of
Well,
our
and I
job.
will tell you as well, and this is no shock for some people who are here as well. Sometimes your resume doesn't do you all the justice you would want it to. And I'm not saying that your resume is terrible, but sometimes through that screen or first interview, even if we don't move forward with you, we're taking notes and identifying skills or general competencies, knowledge areas that maybe didn't read or read well on your resume. That then goes into this database that we now have created, right? So that when another role comes up that might fit better with some of the skill sets that you have, or ones that we wouldn't have known just looking at the resume, it's going to now come up as you might want to reach back out to Sam that you talked to 9 months ago for this role. Okay. Like, it's not, I don't know why people think that that's such a lie. I'm sure that there are some companies that lie. I'm
I
sure
don't
that there
know. I
are.
just don't think there's two things that I mean, we are in one of those careers where everybody thinks they can do our job, which is really everybody thinks they can do it. But don't they? Doesn't
Okay.
everybody like
Yeah.
a
Well,
hiring manager last
people
week,
tell
they're
me,
like, "Can I see
I don't
this?"
want too much HR. We want you guys to come and help be an outsourced HR for us, but we don't want too much HR
Don't be HRy.
because they think they know what it means to be an HR. To exactly your point, they think they know how to do the job. They have an understanding of what HR means.
I know there are so many CFOs that are like, "Oh, we don't need recruiters or recruiting software because we're not recruiting right now." Meantime, they got to backfill 21 positions.
And then when even if they're not hiring right now, I'm like, okay, well, what is the plan to just stay like this for how long? And once in a while, I have a very small company that really genuinely are saying we're not really sure. It's not looking great, and I'm like, well, then don't spend money on software. Don't. I'm with you. That's totally get it. But the other thing is, what in 6 months you're like, oh yeah, we'll be ready to hire in 6 months. I just talked to a client this week who before the end of the year wants to wait a minute 5 times increase the current staff level that they have. And I was like,
Shut
awesome.
up.
What software are you using? Zero.
Shut up.
Okay.
Also, thank you for Jamie for the reminder. Shut up.
Right. This is why
This is just best friend culture, not
it
company culture.
is. And oh wait, what is Greg saying? We learned that writing
Writing
thing in
things in
school
school.
and from the best proofreader in the world. Who was your
Who is
best
the best
proofreader?
proofreader in the world? It's probably our
I don't-
teachers.
I mean, some of y'all, by the way, speaking of that, from a candidate experience.
I get what he's saying. We learned that writing thing, how to write, in school, and from the best proofreader in the world, which were our teachers that would tell us what was
Oh,
going on.
and now when Greg says that's not what he meant, I want to see this. But I do want to say before I know, my gosh, how is it an hour?
Did you
Um,
hear that? I, you
I
know,
did. I mean, my gosh, the employer brand, if it is purely based on the candidate experience, that's not an employer brand. I just want to make sure we say that too, because that's part of it.
and we
But
didn't
if
even
you're,
talk about departmental brand.
I
That's like
know,
you
that's
have a
what I
whole
mean. Yes,
company culture, and
yes.
then you go in and the sales department. And every organization has their own culture.
Yeah.
And they're
I
like,
mean, how many times it's like, we're so wonderful, we're so great at the onset, right? The candidate experience, they come in and they're super pumped, and then they get to, work with their team and they're like, wah, wah, this team is the worst. And you're like, well, sorry, we gave you all the energy at the beginning.
and
Now this is
guess
what it's
what?
doing.
It will be better if you let them work at home.
And make that pizza.
If
Um,
they could work at home by themselves and not have to see Rick. You know
if
Rick.
oh, I do know Rick. Um, if you are, again, we want to make sure we say this as we wrap up. If you are looking for a role, please, please, even if you're watching our show, my gosh, we had like so many people watch last week's show after the fact.
Yes, we
So
have
many.
like thousands that go
It's
back in there and do that.
crazy. Please put in the chat, and there are a bunch of people who commented after the fact as well, because we get notifications, Jackie and I. So thank you for doing that. But please put in the chat your LinkedIn profile and what you're looking for, what types of roles you're looking for, because people are looking at this and we want to help encourage you to find your
And
next role.
give a good candidate experience. It's really hard out there, y'all. It is
Yes,
really hard out
really
there.
hard.
So try to make it. I've always wanted to make it, and I catch myself. Make it a good experience because this is hard. And the market is going to change.
It is. It is. Good job. What a wonderful
Oh my
hour.
gosh, this has
Love
been
being with you.
so
This is
great.
like the
Well, I
best.
appreciate you with my 20-pound drink.
Wow.
Clink, 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 clink,
Blink.
clink.